Okay, so today I'm very lucky to be joined by James LePage. James is our longest serving Brightside client. Um, so the fact that we're still talking is a good sign, lasting longer than the majority of marriages, James, eh?
Yeah, true.
So we're doing well. We're doing well. So James, it'd be great just to kind of just tell everyone kind of what inspired you to start training with us, and what you've achieved in the last, because you've done quite a few things that you wouldn't have done ordinarily. Um, it'd be great to hear about that and kind of just start off really telling us when you started training with us, what was the inspiration behind it and how you found it.
Um, well, I actually bought 10 sessions with Paul in the Wave 105 auction, which back in 2009 when Paul was at Bedford Place. And I thought it would spur me on to actually be accountable. And plus the fact I was paying for it, but got a good deal, I thought give it a go. And so I met Paul, who has been very understanding, as are all the Brightside trainers, but they stretched me without killing me. So they worked out what was right for me rather than what was their agenda. So I enjoy the training because accountability is one thing, but Brightside's like a family. So you get lots of support from everyone. The trainers are all different. They all have their key areas of focus. So I've had sessions with most of them. And occasionally they ask me to have a go with the new trainers to see if they fit into the Brightside model. But
That's part of our interviewing process as well, James.
yeah, I suppose so. Some have even stayed. So, but no, I think it's the fact that they tailor things that are right for you rather than you have to fit into their model. So, and I think that's the important thing because I'm older than a lot of people who train there. I know my limitations, but they just stretch me. And I think the biggest stretch I had was when Dave Carr turned around to me and said, "You're going to do a deadlift of 100 kilos by Christmas." And I think this was in September or so, and I laughed. But we did, and it was again just building on it. And I think that's the thing. They build you up to achieve things. So that's good.
So how would you say then that kind of has helped you in other aspects of your life in terms of confidence, doing things maybe you wouldn't have done before?
Well, I'm a lot fitter than I ever was. I carry a lot less weight. And I think in 2012, I did a cycle for charity where I had to do 300 odd miles in 5 days. So getting that fitness, and because they knew I was doing it, they helped me on my journey and literally, but the training was tailored for that specific need. So that worked well. The fact I'm fitter makes you more confident. I feel healthier. And I've usually I find training in the morning works better for me. So it gets you started for the day. And because you're making that commitment of booking a session, paying for it, it makes you get up, be accountable, and then go, you can face the rest of the day from a good start.
Yeah, that's it. It's all about getting off on the right foot. So I mean, if you hadn't have started with us in that wave auction, how do you think things might have been different for you, James?
Um, there's every likelihood I'd have been 6 feet under by now. I was carrying too much weight. I was at a funeral where one of the other people attending turned round because the person whose funeral it was quite unexpected. And this lady said to me, "We had you top of the list to go first." So yeah, it was. But so it makes you. Yeah, it has made me realise that you've got to look after yourself and your body. And so And it's not. I mean, what I like about the Brightside was, I mean, when I first came to you, Paul, you had me go and see a lady for posture.
Mm.
You know, she helped you direct your training, but I mean, she said things about the way I was standing that never even realised. And you know, the sessions, I've done a couple of sessions with Alex where they've, you know, on diet, and I do quite a bit onto diet because, as you also quite rightly said, you know, weight loss is 80% of what goes in your mouth.
That's it.
But it just gives you more confidence because you feel better.
Yeah. No,
I
that's
try
right.
I try and encourage other people to take advantage of the services you offer.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, James. No, you've done well. We've worked well over the years. I mean, in terms of the last kind of, I guess, 4 or 5 years, do you find that you're able to do things and your energy is better than, like, have you noticed a big decline over the last 5 or 10 years in terms of your own energy, or do you find that you've managed to maintain that?
Well, I think the most yes, I think I've maintained it and probably increased it, so that does help. In 2015, I had meningitis, and it took me 3 months to get back to being able to come to Brightside. And you know, you were very good at making sure I paced myself, because I'm sometimes a bit of like, you know, whether a China shop must get on. But so you were very conscious of where I'd been. Um, Without Brightside, I don't know how long I'd have been recovering.
I mean, that's awesome, James. I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
you don't stop and think about it. Well, that I know you might do, but you when you're busy, you don't stop
yeah,
and think about kind of the impact it's actually had until you sit back and look and go, if I hadn't have been as fit, that
yeah,
recovery could have been very, very different. Life could have been very, very different.
yeah. And it's very true. And you know, I think, I mean, with some of the other things I'm involved with, the fitness of people, certainly people going into hospital, we can get them fitter. They spend less time in hospital, and you know, results have shown they recover quicker. So it makes sense to look after yourself. You know, and yeah, I'm never going to be a, you know, running's not quite my thing. I did your running course, but yeah, running's not quite my thing. But you find what works for you, and you know, it's just overall fitness and well-being. You feel so much better for it.
Yeah,
And
that's brilliant.
I think the other thing is, I don't find any of the trainers judgmental. They don't say, "Oh, you should do that. You should be able to do that."
You
They
should hear what they
realise.
say behind your back, James. You
Sorry.
should hear what they say behind your backs.
Well,
I'm
okay,
joking, obviously.
yeah, but no, they are, and they're encouraging, and so yeah, which is good.
Yeah. So what would your advice be to someone who was kind of thinking, God, I know I need to start something, but I'm scared, or I don't know what to do. How long can I stick it out for? What would your advice be for them?
Well, I'd encourage them to give you guys a go. I mean, you know, everyone's got to do what works for them. My daughter, you know, she did some sessions, which was very good. Much to my surprise, she carried on for a while, but since lockdown, she stopped because, you know, it hasn't worked for her. But no, you know, if I hear people, I say, well, come and give you guys a go. In fact, I shared with someone yesterday your advert for a running course. Whether he'll take it up is another thing.
Brilliant. I appreciate that, James. So yeah, it's just
Social media works.
exactly. That's the world we live in
Yeah,
at the moment.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I guess it's without help, without being fitter and healthier, things could have been very different over the last 5 or 10 years.
yeah.
And
Certainly over the last 5 months as well.
well, yeah, no, exactly, and that's a whole other
Yeah,
thing altogether. Because obviously you used to come in come into the gyms and see us. And now you're all on. We obviously in lockdown we went online, and for a lot of clients they've opted for that. Obviously we've got the gyms open again now, but it's great to be able to offer that flexibility. Again, it's about that bespoke service. That means that if it works better for you to do it this way, then we're going to do it this way, because it needs to be sustainable.
I mean, I'll be honest, I was very reluctant and suspicious about doing sessions online. So I gave it a go, and I even book a weekly session with Matt every week. And now I started, because you did the offer of giving groups a go, and I did that, and I'm now doing 3 of those a week, and I'm going to carry on with that. So it's worked. It's not just during lockdown you've done your stretch courses, the quiz. Alex did a couple of cookery things. So you try to engage with people. And that's why I come back that we bit more of a community rather than just a faceless organisation. So I think you've done really well, and through that I've met people who train at other of your other locations who I'd never met before, which is great.
Yeah, and that's good. I think that's one of the big things that we try and make sure is, one, we're looking after people in an individual, bespoke way that suits their needs and lifestyle. But we want everyone to. We want, like you say, that it's that community, that kind of family of Brightsiders, and we're all in it, helping each other together.
Yeah, it's worked.
Yeah, happy days, James. That's brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time on that, James. Really appreciate that. And
that's
I hope anyone listening has got something from this, and you know where we are if you need some help.
Okay, so you can stop